Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another Elliott Wave analysis. In this video, we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. And just very quickly, please make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you would like more Bitcoin updates, this is a very important pivotal area for Bitcoin that can make or break the bull market. And I'm here going to be explaining all of the different scenarios and also revising our counts that we originally talked about last week. So please make sure to listen very carefully and thoroughly. So in our last video, we talked about the possibility of this being a 1-2 flat here. We were pretty much on track for continuing this expansion phase to the upside within this larger fifth wave, but we came right back into the range and we just kind of been ranging within this level over here, and we have been in an equilibrium state for the past week or so. So there's really no major update, but I do think that we are still within a major bull trend. So if we are saying that this is now a major termination point, which is starting to look like it, and we are now going to be starting to look like taking this zone as a possible market inefficiency for the internal counts, but when you're zoomed out, it still does look like a major termination point here. I do think that we still are currently working within a pretty good looking structure for a possible 5-wave move to the upside. So my overall view hasn't changed, that I think that we are still working within a possible wave 3 to the upside, followed by a 4 or 5 that's going to be completing a larger fifth wave that should be completing off what could be the end of the bull market, or could be going into at least a significant larger pullback to the downside, possibly breaking this region eventually, going back into these levels over here around the $50,000 levels, maybe down into the $40,000 or $30,000 levels, but we have to just wait and see what happens until then. So for now, right now, what I do believe on this macro structure is that, again, we are still working within a possible 5-wave structure to the upside to complete off this fifth wave. So what we have to figure out now is how are we creating a possible wave 2 in the making here. And I think that there's really no other way. I think we're currently at kind of a peak validation level right now, where we have to now be very careful about whether this is really going to be breaking or not. But in my opinion, I think that we do have a pretty solid protected low, meaning that this is the major invalidation of any count of a 1-2 possibility. I think that this is just a sell-off right now, maybe possibly because of Chinese New Year's. However, we are seeing really still signs that we are creating some kind of partner, like for this wave A, that we're going to be looking for this wave C to conclude quite soon, in my opinion. And at least we'll get some kind of determined level of whether this is support or not. But the first major thing that we have to be kind of validating in terms of where the support is going to be for this wave 1-2 is, of course, using the Fibonacci retracement tool. So if we're taking it from the pivot of the low here to the top, this level of support around the 61.8%, which is the golden Fibonacci retracement zone, all the way down to the 78.6, which is an accepted wave 2 pullback. I think that these levels here are going to be the most crucial levels of support. We can be technically be supported around the 38.2 all the way up to the 50%, which I do think that we are actually being supported on. 38.2 for sure. 50%, we're just kind of retesting that level and just kind of getting a small reaction off those levels. But more importantly, I think that these levels here are going to be the most important. And I still do think that these levels are going to be at least some kind of level of reaction zone for how we're going to be determining whether this bounce is going to be sustainable or not. So I do think that this is still going to be retaining the overall look to the upside. I'm kind of glad that we just got this pullback now, but because it does give us a bit further confidence that this is wave 1, even though there might be some kind of market inefficiency happening within the internal counts over here, that may not give the best look for a 5-wave structure. However, now that we have a little bit of more of a resolution happening at this current stage, I think this B wave right now is best determined or kind of observed as a possible triangle here. It's not the best looking triangle, but it is a range, and we have to kind of connect this with whatever count, maybe within a wave B or a wave 4 or wave 2. But since we are looking for a corrective against an actionary, this reactionary wave here is in a B wave, which is a 3-3-3 structure for a E wave, now just concluding as a possible triangle overall that just truncated, and we may be looking for a possible fifth wave to the downside. So after we have our Fibonacci levels kind of determined here in terms of where the support may be, we can use a trend-based Fibonacci extension to kind of measure where the next termination level point may be. So the first level is going to be the 61.8%, and then of course for equality with our wave A is going to be the 100%, and then again the 161.8% is more also a common target that could be a more extended wave C, and of course all the way up to the 261.8%, but right now that's kind of a bit far-fetched. So right now we're going to use these three levels of Fibonacci zones to kind of determine where our next support level is. But lo and behold, our 100% level that is exactly the same target using this pivotal point here as our B wave is exactly the same target or wavelength rather as our wave A if we're taking this to as a major level of support. And as you can see, that 100% level also matches very nicely with that 61.8% level. And if we're taking that from just not only a symmetry perspective for the Elliott Wave Theory, that gives us a pretty near equal, perfect symmetrical outlook for how this wave 2 is going to be concluding. So I think we're very, very close to some kind of resolution. I think this move here was a perfect move to kind of give us a little bit more idea of where this termination point was, because we have been going back and forth between different scenarios. There was just no way to really know if it was going to be breaking to the upside or to the downside. But again, I think right now, we did originally have even a possible sideways combination as we were kind of creating a possible triangle here where the E wave possibly terminated here, breaking above this BD trend line, even also gave us a further fake out. But again, we came back into the range and now we're just kind of breaking below this previous region over here. So at this stage, if you had a gun pointed to my head, I would say that we are now very close to concluding a possible wave 2, just based on with the current data of the Fibonacci levels, the equality of the wavelengths of between wave A and C. A 1:1 ratio is a very important zone as the minimal level of acting support. And then also our normal Fibonacci retracement of the 61.8% when using the pivotal areas of this point over here of the origin of wave 1 and then at the termination point of wave 1, that aligns almost 100% perfectly with the 100% level of the wave A length and the wave C length. That is going to be give us equality of this length of waves of the partner legs in respect to each other. So if we do kind of extend a little bit further, we could wick down all the way to the 78.6 or the 161.8%. But at that point, I think that we can start determining at that point that this might be turning more impulsive into a 5-wave move into a larger wave 1. And at that point, we can change the trend and maybe possibly change our outlook to a more bearish perspective. But for now, until major invalidation happens, which is this red line over here, where the origin of wave 1 lies, then we still have to work with what the markets are currently working at. And the current data that we have right now just seems to fit more in line with a possible wave 1, 2, that we may be working for a wave 3, 4, 5 to conclude. And I think that is going to be the overall narrative going forward. And once we do break above these levels, like I said, we have to start shifting trends again in terms of the sentiment when we start going for this wave 3 and we go for all these higher levels at the 120 to the 130 levels. We can start determining where the larger wave 4 pullback will happen. Most likely as a sideways correction, because now we are observing a sharp correction here. If the alternation guideline still is going to be observed at those levels, we are going to see one more last blow off top, in my opinion, around the 5th wave, have another complacency kind of stage over here as a wave 2 possibility. And I think that is going to be the larger move to the downside, eventually breaking these levels over here. And I think that we are very close and inching just that much closer to a possible bear market correction, or at least a very large sell-off. And I think that, whether Trump or Michael Saylor or Elon Musk, no matter how bullish or how much of a sheep we may be and kind of praising these people for how they are saving the crypto industry, the cycles work in tandem with each other. There will always be a bear market. There will always be a bull market. And I think that this will be the most unexpected bull market pullback. I think that I'm pretty confident that we are going to be seeing this wave 5 conclude as the possible bull market conclusion, at least for this cycle going forward, and at least have some kind of sizable correction that people are ready to finally take profits at those levels. So right now, I think that this wave 1, 2 is going to be the main key point. And I think that right now with the current narrative that we have, especially that we're still above major Fibonacci levels, if you had a gun pointed to my head, I know you guys want clear answers. I'm doing my best to show the conviction as best as I can within these video updates once a week. Thumbs up, Make sure to hit that like button if you want to see more updates. And I think you guys are more interested in altcoin updates, and I was kind of surprised that you guys are interested in more altcoin updates, but I guess what it is. So I have to go with the demand. If you guys want more Bitcoin updates, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. And then lastly, like I said, I think that we have overall terminated this as a corrective move. I think that we are working in a more of an accumulative phase here, and I think we're pretty close to what could be a wave 2 conclusion. So hopefully that was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you very much. And please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We do offer a Discord membership where I will be updating far more updates throughout the week and even into the weekend. Also, if you're interested in joining the Patreon membership, we do 2 updates a week on that as well. So I'll see you guys in the next update. Thank you very much. Have a fantastic rest of the week. Bye-bye.